Hey everybody! Today, Rahdo runs down a prototype of 100 Torii, which is a tile laying game where 1 to 4 players are trying to go for a peaceful walk through a tranquil 17th century Japanese garden. And the way it works is, on your turn, the first thing you can do is ask for help from one of the denizens of the garden. The vendor, the samurai, the poet, the geisha, or the gardener. Although, to work with these folks, you have to pay resources. Although, in exchange, you'll get access to their special power and you'll score some points too. Now, right here at the beginning of the game, I do have a couple of coins I could spend to get help, but I'm not going to right now because I'm pretty happy with the 2 random tiles I drew right from the get-go. After you ask for help, or not, you are then going to play and hopefully score one of the tiles in your hand. And I'm going to play this one because it has a Torii gate on it, a blue one. This other tile doesn't, so this one's less exciting for me. I'm going to play this tile. Now, I have to put it adjacent to any of the existing tiles in the garden already. I'll go on ahead and put this here like that. And now that I've placed it, I have the potential to score. What happens is I pick one of the landmarks, in this case a lantern or a basin, and I trace the path from that landmark to the nearest one somewhere else in the garden on the road. So if I chose this lantern, well, I would not score anything because I cannot trace a path to any other lanterns. But over here, this wash basin, I can trace a path back here to the center where one of each of the landmarks are. So because I can trace a path, I get one of that item. So I pick up 1 wash basin token. Alrighty. Now you always get 1, but you can potentially get more. And that's where the gates come in. For every gate you pass through, when you're going from the first to the second landmark, you can either get another one of the matching tokens if you pass through red gates, or different tokens if you pass through blue gates. I have just passed through this blue gate. So in addition to the 1 wash basin I got for just being able to walk the path at all, I can take one of any of the other resources as long as it's not a wash basin. So I think I will go on ahead and grab lotus flowers. All right. And that now, if I have earned 5 of any one type of the landmarks, I would actually trade those in for a big 5 points worth of those landmarks. A single lotus blossom isn't worth any points at all, but once I've got 5 of them, I can convert it into 5 points. And then later on, if I get 5 more lotus blossoms, I can convert them into 10 points. So this is how you get your points. We're basically doing set collection. And I have started collecting a set of lotus, and I have started collecting a set of wash basins. And I need to get to 5. Although, anytime I want on a future turn, I could give these resources up to ask for help from the various folks, the various characters in the garden. So anyway, I laid a tile. I then scored it. At this point, I cannot claim any achievements because I don't have enough. And so the last thing I do is I refill my hand. So I'm going to draw another one. And oh, I got another blue Torii tile. That's very cool. My turn is over. It is now Jen's turn. And she's going to do the same thing. First of all, she has a couple of coins, so she could ask for help. And then she's going to play one of these tiles and score. And let's see. So Jen's kind of bummed. She didn't get either of her tiles with Torii gates on them. And wherever possible, you want those because that's how you score points. Or not points, but that's how you get more resources. So Jen's a little bummed by that. I think she is going to ask for help from the vendor here. Now the vendor, on this little reminder, says just 1 resource will get help from him. That lets you discard a tile and then draw 2 more tiles. So Jen is going to pay 1 of her starting coins to get help from him, and she's going to get rid of 1 of these. She'll get rid of this because it only has 1 resource on it, and so that goes to the bottom of the stack, and now she gets to draw 2, and she's hoping one of these 2 will have some gates on it so that she can have a more prosperous turn. And yes, one of them did. Although Unfortunately, that did not work out very well because while this does have a gate on it, unfortunately, the path that gate is connected to doesn't have any resources. So, Jen gave up one of her 2 starting coins, which are only in the game for the purposes of getting help from the people. She got help from him, but she didn't really get what she was hoping for. She was hoping for a gate that then had something beyond it, so she could put it down like this and then trace a path, say, from a resource here through 2 gates back so that she would have gotten more good stuff. But she can't do that. However, not all is lost because whenever you ask for help, you take one of the tokens that represents them. Jen has asked for help and has gotten it, and therefore she has scored 2 victory points. Now, the next time she asks the vendor for help, she'll flip this so he's worth 4 victory points. And if Jen asks for help from the vendor a 3rd time over the course of the game, Jen will score this, an additional 3 points. Now, there's only one of these tokens in the game, so there's kind of a race to ask for help as fast as possible because you could score up to 7 points at the end of the game if you've asked for help 3 times. If somebody else beat you to it, the best you could get out of somebody is only 4 points. So anyway, Jen scored 2 points. She got a couple of tiles. She didn't get what she wanted. And so now the asking for help portion is over, and Jen is going to play one of these tiles. And even though she didn't get quite what she wanted, she'll still go on ahead and play. She'll play this one. And she'll put it here like this, extending the path that I started to build. And so now, as you can see, there's a stone here. And so Jen traces a path to the nearest stone, which is back here at the beginning of the path. It goes through 1 gate. So like me, Jen gets 1. You always get 1, no matter how long your path is, you get 1. So Jen got 1 stone. And because she passed through the gate, she can get 1 of something else. Other than stone. So she's got a couple of opportunities to get lanterns. So I think Jen, for her second bonus goal item, will be a lantern. So now Jen has 1 lantern. She'll be able to get a couple of lanterns off of these, and she could be going for those 5 lanterns that she could actually convert into points as fast as possible. And so that was Jen's turn. It is my turn again. And so I could once again ask for help, but I don't want to use these resources until I really need to. And so, although I don't really have, like Jen, I've got 1 Torii gate. I could go like this, but unfortunately, I would not be able to score anything off of it. Although I could instead say go like this, and therefore I've actually closed this path off. No one will be able to take advantage of this Torii gate anymore. If I trace a path, hey, I'll get a lotus, and I'll cross and get something else again. So maybe that's what I want to do, because I am trying to collect enough lotus to score it. So I could go that way, but hey, there's a lotus on this one too. Let's just go with this path. All right, and we're just going to continue to expand the only gate, the only Torii gate that has been added so far. So I've added that. I didn't ask for help. I traced my path back to the nearest lotus. If there was a lotus over here, then I would have to do the shortest path possible, which means I wouldn't pass through a gate. But this is cool. I trace it back. I get my second lotus for having completed a lotus path, and I get another one of my choice. And what the heck? I'll take another wash basin because I've got 2 sets I'm trying to collect there. And so that was my turn. And at the end of my turn, I will go on ahead and All right, so I've got another lotus, which is going to be able to get me my 3rd lotus, but I'm trying to get to 5. And in the meantime, I can start working on stones or lanterns as well. And then it is Jen's turn again. And, all right, so this path is continuing to grow. And so this is interesting. If Jen wants to get some more lanterns, right? If she were to place like this, hey, there's a lantern. She said, I want to trace this lantern all the way back here and go through the gate. There are 2 lanterns here and here. So she would have to trace the shortest route, which means she'd get a lantern, but she wouldn't get any bonuses because she didn't go through any gates. And even if she put this lantern over here, but if she puts it over here, then that's fine because the path goes all the way back here. She'll get a lantern and something else. So that makes sense. Or she could go like this, completely cut some stuff off. So this is interesting. By doing this, she has made a path back. She'll get a bonus. And she has now started to create another completely separate path from the first one that has a gate that she might be able to, in a later turn, get a couple more lanterns and something else. So maybe she's going to go like that. So Jen's going to go. I remember, before she places anything, she's got 3 resources here. If she wants to, she could spend all 3 of these resources to, say, visit the geisha or the gardener and access their power. You can see everybody has unique power, including the ability to block paths off or block off certain items. Like if Jen wanted to go for this other one over here, just as an example, but she wanted to be able to trace a path all the way back here, she could have the poet come and hang out in this spot, which means this lantern doesn't count. So suddenly the shortest path is through here. So you can get a lot of interesting, cool moves if you've got the resources to pay these characters. But you don't want to pay those resources. You want to save them up for set collection so you can get the bonus points at the end of the game. That's the central tension that goes on in 100 Torii. So anyway, so Jen is going to go like this, and thereby starting a whole new path that everybody, all the players, would be able to take advantage of. And in the meantime, Jen says, hey, this lantern comes all the way back here. So she gets a lantern from completing the path and something else of her choosing. She'll go on ahead and take another stone. So she is doing some set collection as well. She draws back up and... oh, look at that. A nice double gate. Although, whoever puts this down can't really benefit from it very much because there won't be anything off the side of it. Although, you could smartly say, put it down like this, score this, and then try to set up something else down the road off of these spaces. Anyway, though, that was Jen's turn. And then it is back to me. And I'm like, okay, I want to take advantage of this new section that Jen has built. Although, remember, I'm chasing after lotuses. So if I try and put my lotus up here, well, it doesn't have a path to any other lotuses. So that doesn't make much sense. But if I want to, I've got a lantern. I could jump on this really quick, put a lantern here, and hey, I'd get a lantern for going through this and something else, like, say, my third lotus. So, while this is what Jen was hoping to do on her turn, I'm going to take advantage of it, which is really going to bother her because then she can't use her lotus to get through that particular gate. So that's kind of a bummer. Now, there is an interesting thing Jen could have done to protect herself if she really wanted to try to set herself up to be in a situation. Remember, you can get the help of various people. The samurai, if you pay the samurai 1 resource, like you saw Jen do before, you can take the samurai and put them somewhere on the board such that they will block the ability to put new tiles down. And so if you're about to put a tile down that you think other players might take advantage of, you could block that off so other players won't be able to take advantage of it, as an example. Alrighty. So, Jen didn't do that, and so I'm going to go on ahead and put my Lotus plans on hold for a little bit and expand like this. And suddenly, hey, I get my first lantern for that little path, and Jen's like, no! And anything I want by passing through this blue gate, you guessed it, folks, more Lotus power for me, and then I draw back up, and let's see, here's a bridge I've got that I could start trying to collect bridges. But I still want to keep working on those Lotuses. All right, so that was that, and just, yeah, Jen did all that work. Okay, well, what does she got? What does she want to do? Well, so she still got this. She was going to put it over here. That's not going to work. But you know what? Actually, it still works out anyway because Jen could go on ahead and expand like this. And so this lantern, well, this lantern, it's equidistant to go to this one or this one. When it's equidistant, you get to choose what path you follow. So Jen's going to put that down here, and she's going to ignore this bridge. She's going to say, I'm going to walk from a lantern to a lantern. She'll go this way, and boom, she'll still get her lantern and something else. Boom, and then there, she'll take another stone. So now Jen has 3 of each of these. Once she gets to 5 of each of these, hey, she could score both of these and have 10 points. Although, if she thinks she's not going to be able to get enough stones, for example, that's when she would give them up to use one of the powers of one of the characters. And so then Jen draws back up. Ooh, the first red gate, which if Jen places it down and goes from basin to basin, every red gate you pass through, you will get a bonus. So Jen's very excited about this. Yes, she is. No, she's not. That's kind of a bummer. Jen was thinking, hey, on my next turn, I'll go on ahead and place this, say, I don't know, like this. And then Jen would say, I'll walk from a basin to a basin. And she'd like to walk from this basin all the way back to the beginning, thereby passing through 2 gates to up her bonuses. But unfortunately, the path would be back back here to this basin, and she wouldn't get that extra bonus. So that's a little bit less than ideal, although maybe it makes the most sense depending on what she's going for. Anyway, so she drew a tile, and the game continues. Now, the game is going to keep going until we make it through all these tiles, and that triggers the end of the game sequence. And at the end of the game, whoever has collected the most of these landmark achievements, either 5 or 10 points, or whoever has gotten the most points from making good with all the various characters, you add all that stuff up, and somebody is going to win. Now, there's 2 other ways to make points as well. As part of the set collection, so Jen's working on trying to get a 5-point stone, and what was it, the other one? A 5-point lantern. If Jen could get a 5-pointer for all of the various landmarks of the game, and if she's the first player to do it, she'll score 5 bonus points. If she's the second player to do it, she'll score 3 bonus points. Now, on the flip side, if she gets 5 stones, she'll Torii this. If she gets 5 more stones, it'll flip to be worth 10 points. If Jen is the first player to get 3 10-point tiles based on all her set collection, then she'll be able to score 5 points off of this for getting 10 landmark, or 3 10-point landmarks. And then again, the second player to do it does 3. So there is all kinds of racing going on to collect all these different resources to convert them into points. But sometimes you realize, oh, you know what? I'm never going to get my 5th stone or my 5th shrine or whatever it might be, and then you go on ahead and you pay those to use one of the special powers, scoring points from them and potentially scoring bonus points, depending on how many times you visit them, and using their powers to block paths off, to block certain things off, to let you, play 2 tiles in a turn instead of 1. All sorts of neat stuff in 100 Torii, and that is the rundown, folks. This is a very sweet, charming, and a lovely, peaceful, zen-like experience. It's really kind of interesting, and unlike a lot of tile layers, you are spending so much time piggybacking off of what other players do. And there's kind of an ebb and a flow as a particularly lucrative path starts to appear that has lots of gates on it, then more and more players want to extend that path. It's where everybody wants to walk. But sooner or later, that path will be tapped out because, for instance, on this path, one doesn't necessarily want to do a stone walk because you don't go through any gates anymore. So eventually paths will fall out of favor and players are starting to try to do new paths elsewhere, always with the razor sharp focus on set collection to score points in this very, very quick, fast playing game. That is absolutely gorgeous. All the art from Vincent Dutray is just mouth-wateringly lovely and creates a really wonderful atmosphere for 100 Torii. And that's the rundown, folks. Thanks very much for watching. Have a very nice day. Talk to you later. So long. Bye-bye.